I have a message for Mr. G.K. Chesterton. You, sir, are a moron. G.K. Chesterton hath said that if a thing is worth doing, it's worth doing badly. Gasp! Okay, so this video is actually exactly about that. I want people to be willing to be bad at stuff. Before I get into the content that I'm going to lay before you, I'm going to read to you a famous poem, If, by Rudyard Kipling. And when people hear this poem, they think it's about the big if. I mean, it's called If, after all. Each verse starts with if. If is everywhere in this poem. But if is not about if. If is about doing stuff. So here we go with the poem. If, by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make a dream your master, if you can think and not make a thought your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginning and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, or lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Be a man! Play the man! What I want to encourage you to do is to risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss, and then start again and never breathe a word about your loss. I want you to be willing to meet with triumph and disaster. So, something that's really struck me this week is how many of us Christians think more about avoiding what's wrong than doing what is good. And you who are watching this, you who are listening to this, you have authority. So in particular, I want you to think about how those under your authority are impacted by your attitude towards the good and the bad. Are your children more concerned when they do a deed and they think about what will come of that deed? Are they more concerned about the punishment that will come from it if it goes wrong? Or are they looking forward more to the reward that will come from it if it is right? We want you to encourage an atmosphere in which risk is taken. And I'm not talking about sin, I'm talking about failure. I'm talking about messing up. I'm talking about throwing the ball out of bounds when the correct play was something else. I'm talking about learning the hard way which way to chop a tree. Oh, look, it's going to fall downhill, right? I'm talking about real danger and real mistakes and real stupidities that your children can commit, that you can commit when your boss tells you to do something. Do you want to work in a place where you feel like you can go for it and maybe mess up? Or do you want to work in a place where you're going to toe the line because if you try anything your way or a different way, you're going to be suppressed. You're going to be punished. Think about that in the atmosphere you're creating in your home. You want your arrows to be risk takers. You want your warrior poets to be willing to war and do poesy. You want them to be willing to go for it. And that means you must create an atmosphere of generosity, an atmosphere of if. Go for it. Let's see what happens. One of the proudest moments of my life was when my son Joffrey proved me wrong. about something. He wanted to start a business, and I said to him, I don't think there's any market for it. I think you're getting carried away by your love of this particular thing, and you're wrong about the interests of other people. Thank the Lord, I had the instinct in that moment to say, but you can go for it. Just do it. And he did prove me wrong. He had a market. He sold a bunch of these things that he made. And I was so glad to be able to tell him that he was right, that he took a risk, and it could have been stupid, but it wasn't. And Lord willing, Lord be kind to me, I would have been also generous if I had been right. If he had really messed up. You know what? He has messed up a bunch of times. That's the kind of atmosphere that I'd like to encourage in your home. Let the kids go for it.